Welcome into the Everyday Fantasy Football Podcast with your hosts, Jmarsh, Andrew, and Ben. Follow us on Spotify, YouTube, X, wherever you get your social media at everyday_FF or at JMarshFFB on X. We're going to get straight into it, boys, today with some breaking news. Kind of the first bit. Last week we discussed the good old hopeful 10-7 Denver Broncos, and Ben's fantasy came a dream the other day. Bo Nix named starting QB. We kind of all expected this. He's looked obviously great in the preseason. You know, they're still going to end 7-10, but he looks great. So that's kind of the first bit. Like I said, pretty expected. Next big thing, really surprised, honestly, because Jahan Dotson got traded to the Eagles, which that's an in-division rival. So that was a little odd to me, especially the fact that Commanders don't really have anybody besides Scary Terry and Martavis Bryant that we talked about a few weeks ago. So that was odd. But I was actually looking into it. He had a crap ton of air yards last year. Like, he had the most routes, like top like 2 or 3 most routes run. So dude was getting some conditioning in, but his like average target was like super low. So I don't know what you guys think. Is this going to make any implications with him going to the Eagles? You know, whether the current wide receivers and running backs, or is this not really change anything for you guys?
I mean, a little. I think it ups Scary Terry's value a little bit on Washington's side, but also I'm just not 100% sold on that situation yet because we haven't seen Jaden Daniels in a real live season. So I think that's somebody that you could probably not pick up in the draft. He might go, and if he goes, you might have to be okay with that, or use in like the second half of the later end of the draft, pick him up, and then have a big breakout star. But I don't think it's like you have to go draft him now because of this trade.
Yeah, I agree. I actually really liked him. I was really bought into him last year, and then just obviously disappointed all of us. But with Scary Terry, that definitely, he moves up my rankings for sure, because he's a great receiver as it is. He's just not had any reliable good quarterbacks. I'm hopeful for Jaden Daniels, so I think Scary Terry's going to have a pretty decent season this year. But as far as Jahan Dotson going to the Eagles, like I'm not drafting him. Maybe like get him if I'm in a dynasty league. Maybe get him, on waivers just to, in case one of your guys goes down. Like, he's probably going to get some targets for sure, because AJ Brown and Devonta Smith, they're great receivers, but at the same time, their best cornerbacks are going to be on those two guys. So Jahan Dotson might, get some open routes and be average, but nothing crazy in my book that I'm worth taking him in.
It's a weird trade, honestly. Like, I look at it and it's like, okay, so who won this trade? Because I look like I don't. The Eagles give up quite a few picks for this guy, and he's a rising star, but like and then Washington gives up their number 2 receiver when they really didn't have anybody to throw to begin with. I don't know. I just feel like nobody wins this trade. I didn't understand.
And division's even weirder.
Yeah, it's real.
And I was like, oh, maybe Luke McCaffrey and Jaden Daniels have had, decent connection. They're always first in for last out. So I was like, oh, maybe he'd be great. And I was going to try to pick him up in Dynasty. Then I was like, honestly, I don't really want to pick him up. I need to see some stuff first before I'm going to take him. But yeah, it didn't make much sense to me, because are they really putting trust in Martavis Bryant to fill that number 2 role? Like, I don't know. That's just weird.
Yeah. He's like 32 now, isn't he? He's old.
He's old. He's gotten in trouble. I don't know. It's a weird one for sure. But let's jump to our next kind of last breaking news, which I think it moves this guy up my rankings. Not the guy I'm about to talk to, but somebody else on his team. But Zay Jones was suspended for 5 games. We talked about this, over texting. They don't have anyone besides Marvin Harrison Jr., who's still unproven. He's great, obviously, in college. And Kyler Murray, I'm excited about him. But they have Michael Wilson as a wide receiver 2 and Greg Dortch as a wide receiver 3. Like, Marvin Harrison, honestly, he's going in the second round, which is crazy as a rookie wide receiver. And I know he's a stud. So I'm torn on if I want to take him. But honestly, makes me a little bit more confident now, because there's nobody Michael Wilson, like he's okay. Greg Dortch, he's had his moments, but like none of these guys are like. It's not like the Eagles, like we just talked about. It's not like the Eagles who have AJ Brown and Devonta Smith, and even Jahan Dotson is better than Greg Dortch and Michael Wilson. So it's weird. It sucks, honestly. Cardinals, like they had a pretty bad past few years, and they have a new coach in. They have a stud rookie running back who's probably not going to get too much playing times, at least at the start. So it's like Marvin Harrison Jr., and that's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you feel like there's two ways to look at that though? Because when you said that you actually feel better about Marvin Harrison now, for me, I feel like in fantasy at least, when you lose the guy who was going to take some target share, it can go one of two ways. Like that guy can the guy who is going to get more targets now can either get a lot better, or there's so much focus on him from the defense, the opposing team, that he can actually get worse. So I don't know. I feel like it could go either way.
Yeah.
I think for me, I'm with you, Jmarsh. I think it ups his value for me. I mean, and that's just because I'm an Ohio State guy for college. But I mean, if you watch his tape in college, this dude is like, I mean, he just burns anybody. And I think it's gonna have a little bit of a slow start in the NFL, but I think he's gonna be right up there with. I think we're gonna see a Justin Jefferson like season, rookie year out of him, a Tyreek Hill rookie year out of him, and it's not like if he was with a quarterback, like no offense, Andrew, but like I do like Malik Neighbors, but I just don't have faith in him because of the quarterback situation in New York. But like if he was with a quarterback like that, I'd be like, okay, maybe I don't like this a lot. But like Kyler Murray is like he's still like I would say a top 10 quarterback. Maybe not top, right outside the top 10 of the league. I was trying
fantasy
to
wise, I think he's a top 10, maybe even top 5 this year, which is great. Like, I mean, I'm gonna do my best Kyler impression. Can't see over the line, but yeah, I think he's gonna be really good this year.
One of the best
Kyler
I ever heard about Kyler Murray. Somebody said he looks like a kid who just stole his mom's cell phone and is running away from it. It's so perfect. Like I can't get it out of my head now. Every time I see him scramble, I'm like, yeah, that's it.
I mean, did you see that game against the Eagles last year? Where did they? I don't know if they end up winning that game or not. I completely forgot, but I like jumped on and like end of the fourth quarter. I think it might have been on Red Zone, and like dude was just running over that team, like just running everywhere, and the Eagles were not able to get him. So like,
or the one against the Raiders in Vegas where he literally ran like 30 yards back, and then like 30 yards forward, and then hit him in the corner of the end zone on the 2-point conversion to win the game.
Yeah, he's a great fantasy quarterback. He's good. He's a above average NFL quarterback as well. So confident in him. Like I agree to your testament, Andrew, to a point. Like, yeah, that could go one of two ways. It can. I think it's gonna go like Marvin Harrison, like Ben said, like dude is a stud receiver. He's like one of these Justin Jefferson, Chase type quarterbacks that we're all hoping for and have seen. So I mean, he's not gonna have a Justin Jefferson, type year, especially in his rookie year, but I think he could still finish, in the top 12 wide receivers potentially. So
I'm making a bold prediction here. I think he breaks Puka's record that Puka just set last year. I think he breaks it.
We'll see. Let's see at the end of the season how that plays out. And you also have to come back to Zay Jones is only suspended 5 games. It's not all season. So I think we have to take that in part, just the first 5 games of the season. So first 5 games, all in on Marvin Harrison for sure. But let's see after that 5 games and Zay Jones comes back. Zay Jones is an average receiver, nothing crazy, but he's gonna help maybe alleviate a little bit from Marvin Harrison, so that way, like he's getting some reps too. It can't only go to Marvin Harrison and James Conner as a running back. They can't. And then Trey McBride, I completely forgot that. Boost him up a little bit. I completely forgot about him. So
that's the one that I actually feel like the stock is guaranteed to go up.
Yeah, I honestly completely forgot about him. Like I said last week, I just haven't seen much from him. Like I didn't see any crazy Sam Laporta type stuff last season. So
he just caught a lot of balls and scored a lot of touchdowns.
Yeah, so we'll see. Speaking side, just want to go on a side note real quick. That league, I sent you guys a screenshot of my draft, and my starting tight end is Pat Freiermuth. Somebody just dropped. This is why it's great and awful playing with a bunch of old people because someone dropped Sam Laporta. I put my claim in, and I'm gonna find out tomorrow morning if I get Sam Laporta. Just because he was questionable and someone just dropped him, like, you idiot.
Are you doing FFA waivers?
It's the rolling waiver, so I'm number 12. But good part is some other people put some claims in and got some people, so that moves them. It actually moves me up. So unless like my brother, who knows fantasy, saw that, he's the only, because I was the first pick in draft. I got CMC, so as long as my brother didn't see it, I have a good chance. So cross your fingers, guys.
I'm gonna text your brother.
Do not. Anyways, let's go into our next segment. We're calling this My Everydayers. We're going to do this once per year right before draft season. Like, draft season's right now. Honestly, like this weekend, a crap ton of people are doing drafts. It's upcoming week after preseason, a lot of drafts. And then, soon, less than 2 weeks away on September 5th, the Chiefs kick off with the Ravens. So it's draft season, boys. So it's a good time. And My Everydayers essentially is like, these are the guys all of us want on our teams. Like, we're each going to go over 3 different players at every single draft. You're going to do whatever you can to try to get those players. Players are confident that are going to have a great season, and just players you really want on your team just because of what they have around them, how they play, what they did last year, and just the talent that they have. So, Andrew, I want you to go first. Let's hear your top 3, and we'll kind of go from there.
Okay, so I took Jared Goff, Saquon Barkley, and Malik Neighbors. I'll start with Jared Goff. I am a value QB kind of guy. I'm not the guy who's going to grab one in the 3rd round or even the 4th round. I'm going to try and grab a guy who's going to end in the top 10 and just get him late. I'd rather spend most of my capital on wide receivers and running backs in the early rounds. And one of the things, this is kind of a weird thing that I read, but one of the things that I think is interesting about his season this year is that they only play 3 outdoor games this year. And he is really awful in outdoor games, but he's amazing indoors. So I feel like that's a factor. I don't know. It makes me feel even better about choosing.
Does he play the Chiefs by chance? Because he's the only guy that always beats the Chiefs.
That's a good question. I don't know. I could look that up real quick.
Like, like the most iconic game ever, probably the best football game I've seen in my life, besides, honestly, like that Bills and Chiefs game, and then, honestly, that last Super Bowl is amazing. But the Chiefs, when they played the Rams in LA, when it was just back and forth, and there's like, 70-something points scored, something like that, like a crazy amount of yards, like one of the best games ever, and Jared Goff came on top, against Mahomes, and then last year, beat Mahomes again, obviously without Kelsey, and you had the worst performance by a receiver in NFL history.
Jmarsh, to answer your question, they do not. They played in the preseason, but
that's great. Great news for me. I'm a Chiefs fan, so that's awesome. Yeah, I agree with you on Jared Goff. I mean, he has talent around him. He got a new contract. He's got Jahmyr Gibbs. He's got David Montgomery. He's had Sam Laporta. He has freaking Amon-Ra. And then who's that receiver we talked about last week? I'm drawing a blank on his name. The other guy from Alabama. Yeah, Jameson Williams. So, man, dude, he has talent around him. Like, he played great last year. The Lions are a favorite to win the NFC. So, like, those are players you want to get. And like you said, he's going later. That's QB you can get in later rounds and be happy with. It's not like you're drafting late and like, oh crap, I have to choose between Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. It's not like one of those guys. It's a guy that you're going to get late and actually has talent around him, but he's just going late because he's not a mobile quarterback. So I like that pick.
And then the next guy I picked was Saquon. It really hurts me to take him, obviously, as a Giants fan. Speaking of interdivisional trades, but I don't know. I feel like Saquon, like if you just look at his tape and then compare his abilities against literally any running back in the NFL over the last 5 years, he stands toe-to-toe with everyone when it comes to pure talent. He has just been on really bad teams with really bad offensive lines and no ability to actually pass. So it's like, now he's on the Eagles. not only can they block, not only can they pass, but they can run all over anybody. So
Not making the playoffs, but
I can't conversation. But yeah, Saquon, I just feel like he's going to break out this year, and he's 27 this year. So
he's still young.
This is the peak of where he's going to be athletically.
Yeah.
This is as good as he's going to get.
I agree.
And then also, too, with him, I feel like I know a lot of people are saying, oh, don't draft him because of the whole tush-push situation. But I don't know. I feel like this year we're going to start to see a decline in that. I mean, Kelsey was
like I said last week, Kelsey's
part
gone.
of that. I think he was a huge part of that. You saw other teams tried to run that, and it failed horribly. And it's because they don't have the right center. And it's like people saying, oh, well, he can push him. That's not where it comes from. It comes from having a short, stocky center like Kelsey who can, kind of drive under and then having that running back in the end. And I think, too, teams are starting to have more and more success against that. And also, the reason why they did that is because that was their best option on the 1 yard line. Whereas I think with a guy like Saquon, he's already a truck. He's a semi-truck himself. So I don't see why the Eagles would want to risk something happening to Jalen Hurts that consistently when you have a power back like Saquon that you can push it in with. So I like that pick as well.
Yeah, I like that as well. Kind of a few things. One, he's in the same exact division that he's played in his entire career. So he's playing the same teams. He, obviously defensive schemes change, players change, personnel changes, all that. Yeah. But he's still playing the same teams. He knows those players. He knows how to beat them. Like you saw him last year when he was actually healthy and he looked great. Like he had a great season last year and I had him on one of my teams and I was happy with him. Yeah. Like you said, he's going to the Eagles. He's not playing either is it MetLife Stadium, right?
Yeah, MetLife.
Not playing at MetLife, the worst stadium in history. And that's why he kept getting hurt because it's terrible. Everybody gets hurt there. So the fact that he's not playing half of his season there is awesome. He's only playing there once, maybe twice if they play the Jets as well. But that's great news for him. He's going to be on a better field and he's not going to have to be on a field that's has a chance every single time he runs out the field to get injured. So that's great. That's great for him. I agree, though. I think he's going to have a good season.
Then last pick was Malik Neighbors. This is like I'm obviously biased towards the Giants, but I will say, like, if you just put Malik and Marvin Harrison next to each other, like I truly do believe that the name had a lot to do with people saying that Marvin Harrison Jr. was going to be was just the obvious number one guy. Because if you look at Malik Neighbors and if you look at his tape and look at the spectacular catches that he made, maybe not necessarily like the run of the mill plays, but like the plays that he pulled off. I mean, put those up against Jmarsh Chase, Justin Jefferson, any of these guys that came in recently, and I don't know. I feel really good about him. That being said, I agree with you too. Danny Dimes sucks. We don't have a good team. However, he is truly the number one guy. He's going to get a lot of targets. He'll probably end up with 1,000 yards, honestly, just because that he's all they have.
Yeah. I mean, I think all three of us are going to have to say the same thing. I'm confident in Malik Neighbors as a player, and you've seen it in preseason and in camp. Like he's making these spectacular catches. He's great in college, and he's one of the best rookie wide receivers. He just unfortunately is getting the ball thrown to by Danny Dimes. So I don't even know why they have he shouldn't have that nickname, by the way. Like it's Danny Donuts or something, like throwing
sarcasm. It's sarcasm. Nobody actually feels that way.
I know. Please give him a better nickname because he's awful. I mean, you've seen these other quarterbacks that haven't really done anything, get massive contracts, and that's what happened to him. He kind of started it. But yeah, I mean, I'm confident in the player. Worried with Danny Dimes, unfortunately. So we'll see. We'll see on that one. I like the pick, though, but I'm just a little nervous just because it's quarterback. All right, Ben, let's hear yours.
All right, my three players are going to be Zay Flowers, Evan Ingram, and then
Mostert.
Mostert, thank you.
I wonder where you got two of those guys' names from. Somebody's
I
amazing
had him
sleeper
before your
picks.
sleeper. I had him before your sleeper.
Mm-hmm.
I can show. I can pull up my fantasy drafts right now and the dates. But Evan Ingram, starting off with him, I really like him just because you saw a lot of talent from the receiving core position in Jacksonville leave. Zay Jones left, and they got Christian Kirk, but besides that, they don't really have anybody. And I feel like Evan Ingram is big enough to be a tight end where he's going to do a lot of production, but also he was getting a lot of routes just normally too, not just at goal line as you see with a lot of big heavy tight ends. He was kind of I would almost put him as their number 2 option behind Christian Kirk at this point from a receiving standpoint. Maybe ETN in there, but I think they're going to save ETN for a lot of those runs. But I like his red zone upside with just the lack of receiving core that they have. They're not going to run it every single time with ETN. They're going to try to mix up the play call, and I think he's your go up and grab it anywhere in the 5 to 10 yard line.
Yeah, I mean, you heard it in the sleeper episode. I'm in on Evan Ingram. He had a great year last year. He's built the rapport with Trevor Lawrence. They lost, 2 big parts of their offense. So, like, who's he got? He's got ETN and he's got Christian Kirk. And Christian Kirk just needs to stay healthy because he's, he had a great season, then got injured, and he's had injury problems in the past. So, like, Evan Ingram is the trustworthy one. And even with ETN, he's going to get a lot of passes out of backfield, but it's not going to be the type of passes that is going to take away from Evan Ingram. So, like I said in a few episodes ago, I'm in on Evan Ingram, so I have no complaints on that.
Yep.
The only thing that makes me hesitant about him, one tiny thing, is if Brian Thomas really gets good. Like, he's not going to be amazing in the beginning of the season, but he's a big body receiver, and he could take a lot of end zone targets away from him late in the season. But it's a small thing, but it's just something to be aware of.
Yeah, I agree.
Second player is going to be Zay Flowers. He started, I feel like a lot of people didn't know about him last year until like mid-season. But as a rookie, 858 yards, 5 TDs, that's tremendous. And I think that share is just going to go up. I think he's gotten more confident in his abilities. I think Lamar Jackson trusts him a lot more. He has emerged as the number 1 guy. I know they had Odell there last year. He didn't really do anything. But, looking at their depth chart for receiver, they're another team that's like really don't have much. They have Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, he's good. I like him. Nelson Aguilar, don't get me started. Russell Gage, Tylan Wallace, Devontae Walker. So it's like, in terms of wide receiver, he is our typical, like, that is a really good wide receiver 1, I think, that is not going to be treated like a wide receiver 1 just because there's so many others out there. But he has Lamar Jackson. He's one of those wide receivers that I think that he's going to get a lot of targets. And not only is he going to get a lot of targets, he's going to get a lot of targets from an elite quarterback who's going to get him the ball in the right place every single time. So I really like him in the 3rd and 4th round just because he's going to be a pick that is going to, if you're already solid at wide receiver 1 and 2, he's your flex. And I think if something happens to your number 1, he could easily step in and be your number 1 or number 2 without hesitation.
Yeah, I have kind of strong opinions on Zay Flowers. I'm not in on
Chiefs
him.
fan.
I'm not in on him personally. He helped us. What are you talking about? He fumbled the ball.
You're not in on him even in late rounds because he's
in late rounds. Yes,
he's a good value.
Not his current ADP. I'm not in on him his current ADP, and it all depends on the league, obviously, and the format. And
what's his ADP right now?
I think when I was looking at it, wasn't it like the 4th or 5th round? 4th round, maybe.
I have him as wide receiver 26, but let me see what his ADP is.
Yeah, take a look at his ADP, but 56. I like him.
Yeah, so that puts him in the
4th, 5th round.
That puts him in the 5th round in a 12-man league.
Yeah, but if it's a keeper league, then he's probably going in the 4th round. The reason I'm not in on him is kind of a few things. One, he's really like I'm not the biggest fan of small guys, small receivers, especially as a wide receiver one. Like, yeah, like as a flex option, yeah, I'd love to have Zay Flowers if I like started the draft with having two really good receivers. But with him, you got to think his stats are inflated because Mark Andrews is out. He started popping off when Mark Andrews was out. So that's a little bit, but at the same time, if you kind of go playing devil's advocate, he is the only wide receiver. Like Nelson Aguilar, seriously, Rashad Bateman, who's done absolutely nothing in his entire football career. He is the only receiver. So think like if you think of it kind of like Arizona Cardinals scenario, it's kind of a similar thing. Like not like he's not Marvin Harrison, but where you have a good running back, a Derrick Henry, you have a good tight end, Mark Andrews. Like he's in a similar situation where he's the only wide receiver. So it's okay. I'm in on him because of that, but I don't. In the 5th round, there's a lot of other plays I'd rather have than him. Like looking at kind of, I'm big on tier based drafting. So in his tier, you have Amari Cooper, Stephon Diggs, T. Higgins, Rashee Rice, Scary Terry, George Pickens, Christian Kirk, Tank Dell, Chris Godwin, Deontay Johnson, Keenan Allen, Calvin Ridley. I'd take Amari over him. I'd take Rashee Rice over him, Terry McLaurin, George Pickens, Christian Kirk, Tank Dell. Because I actually like Tank Dell better than Stephon Diggs. But I'd say half of those receivers in his kind of tier where he's at, I'd take over him just because I trust the quarterback a little bit more. I love Lamar Jackson. I do. Mobile quarterback. But, man, he's just way better at running than he is at passing. He truly is. I've always thought of him as...
That is blasphemy. That is the Chiefs fan in you coming out.
It's a little bit of... I love Lamar Jackson. He's on my dynasty team. I really like him as a human and as a player. Because, dude's great at fantasy, but just like everyone's had the jokes or the statements towards him, like him just being a running back that can throw, right? Like he just doesn't have the arm talent of even like a Jared Goff type arm talent. Like I have not seen him have those type of passes really, and consistently at least. But I don't know. I'm not in on Zay Flowers. Current ADP, like I said, I like him if he was in like the 7th round,
Jeez.
but not where he's currently at.
7th round.
Yeah.
You hate Zay Flowers.
Man. All right.
Mark Andrews, though. Love Mark Andrews. That's my boy.
My 3rd pick is Mostert. I mean, I know we talked about it, but I just think he's going to just have an incredible season. I mean, he led the league in touchdowns last year as a running back. I think he had like 18, which is like insane, especially because he was splitting the backfield with A-Chain. Like for a player to get that many touchdowns and have a split backfield, that makes me very, very confident in him that he's going to do it again. I think Mike McDaniels, his play call, like unless it's a 50-yard bomb to Tyreek Hill, if they're on the 5-yard line, they're running it. Like they just showed that they are a running team in the red zone. And contrary to what a lot of people are saying, I don't like A-Chain as much as other running backs this year, and especially going into year 2. I think the league's kind of going to figure him out a little bit. I think Mostert is a lot more stable at that position, and if you're looking at a running back 2 flex option, I think that's really important because I feel like every year we see running back get hurt the most as a general position group. So I really, really like having him just middle of the 3rd round, 2nd round, maybe not 2nd round, but just going up and grabbing him and just having him there on your team just in case, and also too from a flex standpoint, there's nobody more than I would want in my flex than the leading touchdown scorer of last year.
Yeah. I mean, I agree on most points. I mean, Raheem Mostert, I'm in on him because of ADP. We talked about this. Like, he's going so late. And I like Achane, but I don't like him ADP. Like, for me, in my draft, I actually got Achane, but I got him in, like, the third round, not the 2nd round. So, like, that's not too bad for Achane. But getting him in the 2nd round where he's going, like, the middle part of the 2nd round, like, no way. But I was luckily in a league that didn't know what they're doing. But with Mostert, yeah, he's going to have a touchdown regression. You're not going to see 18 touchdowns from him. You will not. I'd say 10 tops because Achane's
Yeah.
going to have his sophomore season. But even with him getting 10, or hell, he can get 7, and he's still going to be I'd say a mid to high end RB2, and he has the possibility to be an RB1 because he has the talent. So, and his ADP is great. Like, that's an awesome quarter. Like, I could just pick a running back in the first round. Just say I get Jahan Robinson, and I don't draft a running back until when is he going? Like, Andrew's in like the 7th, 8th round, Raheem Mostert right now.
Looks like he is. His overall ADP was. Where is he? I just lost him.
I got him. 77 on Fantasy Pros.
Yeah. So like that late, like I'd be fine having him as my RB2 if I have a Bijan and him, and then I have a bunch of stud receivers that I got in between and a good quarterback. Like, I'd be content with that team. So I'm in on him as well. So like I said, he was one of my fantasy sleepers. So
league's pretty thin on RBs in general too. So like when you look at him, like he's gonna get you some TDs. There are a lot of guys that might not get you anything.
I agree. Sweet. Well, we'll go into my everydayers as well. Then we can get into this mock draft chaos. But my everydayers: Isaiah Pacheco, CJ Stroud, and JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba with the Seattle Seahawks. Pacheco, I mean, he's great. I think he was one of the people we were talking about a couple weeks ago as well. Like, he just had such a great career so far, and dude just literally runs through walls. He's going to get the ball when we're within and then not the end zone, the red zone a lot. He's just shown natural progression in his career and how better he's honestly done. And he's a heavyweight on the Chiefs. Like, they rely on him so much, and I'm just pumped to see him play this year. And fantasy wise, he finished as the RB15 last year, and he missed 3 games. So like, imagine a full season out of Pacheco. Great. That's going to be awesome. My only worry about him is him being that workhorse, and that especially these workhorse running backs you see, they do get injured. And they just have to, sit out some games. So that's my only worry I have with him. But where he's going I think it's like the mid to early 3rd round, some leagues 2nd round if it's a keeper league. I love Pacheco.
I mean, I agree completely. I hate it as a Broncos fan because when he emerged, I was like, God damn it, they just drafted another like Charles on the Chiefs, like Jamal Charles. Like, the dude is a stud, and I think the threat of him too. And I get that a little bit, but there's always going to be running back like worries about them getting injured. But I think part of the threat with Pacheco is the quarterback situation. It's like those teams are so scared of Mahomes and his ability to not only create plays and run himself, but also just hurt you anywhere, that they're not even thinking about, we're going to run it. And it's like, if they do, they take the sacrifice of, okay, we'll let Pacheco get a good start out of the shotgun or whatnot.
Dude, as soon as he gets a good start, so man, you gotta back up, man. Like,
But you just see, like, when
they're
playing the Chiefs, they just drop all their line, but nobody's up on the line because you can't play that way against Mahomes. You physically can't. Like, so I like Pacheco because of that, just because I think he's going to be better than he's been in terms of fantasy. Also, I think he's going to be better than he's ever been.
Yeah. I think you just got to make sure to draft Edward Hilaire if you take him, just to keep him as a handcuff.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'm a big handcuff guy, especially like, just say I do wide receiver, and he's my RB1. I'm getting the handcuff later in draft, because if your running back 1 goes down, like, I'm a big handcuff guy, at least for my RB1.
Mm-hmm.
So next guy you've heard it probably every episode. I love this guy, CJ Stroud. I mean, man has probably one of the best rosters around him. From defensive standpoint, they're great. And then offense, Stephon Diggs, Nico Collins, Dalton Schultz. You got Tank Dell.
Mixon now is
Mixon. Yeah, you got just such a great roster around you. I feel like if he does not succeed, then there is a bigger problem. Like, if he has a complete 180, has a sophomore slump, that's the only way he fails. Like, if he just completely just if he does the complete opposite, if he goes Bryce Young on us, okay, that's the only way he's gonna fail. Honestly, there's no way somebody can fail with this roster, in my opinion.
Pretty weak division too.
Exactly. So, in on him. Last one. This is a hard one. JSN. I really liked him as a rookie. He doesn't have the best quarterback. He's an average quarterback. But you got DK Metcalf on the other side. But JSN, just where he's going in drafts, I really like him. Saw the talent last year, and he was Ohio State, right, Ben?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Ohio State player, and he was great there. And like I said, I just really love the talent last year, and I think he's going to get more targets in his sophomore year as well. And it's pretty much those guys. Lockett's already heading to the season, probably going to already injured. I just saw that like today. And Lockett's getting older too. So like I'm not too worried about that. Like he's a wide receiver too. He's not a wide receiver one. He's not one of these guys that's gonna be top 12. I'm not saying that, but I think he's gonna be he's a solid player I'd put in my flex every single week. And that's that's why he's my everydayer, not because I'm not expecting the moon from this guy, but him being a consistent fantasy player in your flex, getting you at least 10 points a week. That's who I want in my flex. So that's why I have him as my everydayer. But cool. Well, that ends that segment of our everydayers. We're going into some mock draft chaos here. It's gonna be real fun. Andrew, I have the draft board, so I'm gonna draft as you. You just tell me who you're gonna pick. Ben, you're in the draft as well. I'll share my screen here so we can all see this amazingness. So just to kind of be clear how this mock draft chaos is gonna work. I have full control practically. So I get not only can pick a player for Ben or Andrew, I can force you guys to pick a different player. I can force you guys to pick a different position. I can force you to pick a player from a different team. And then the opponent, so Ben, if I call this out, Ben can pick Andrew's player, vice versa. So it's going to be a little bit chaotic here. And I really just want, the reason I'm doing this and want to do this chaos is really to see how drafts go. I talked about this briefly last week. Someone gets this quarterback at the end of the second round, early third round. People freak out. And then you just see naturally quarterbacks going earlier or certain receivers, certain running backs going earlier than they normally do. And that's kind of what I want to see here with this chaos, is really just showing you what a real draft typically looks like. You do these mock drafts on sleepers, like, man, I love this team. This is going to be great. When has it ever happened that you got almost everyone in your mock drafts? Zero, right? Like almost never happens. So because it's just, computers, it's these little chat bots doing this stuff. So I really want to do some craziness, spice some things up, and, see how things go. So with that being said, we're going to start this mock draft chaos. Andrew, you're picking from the third slot, and Ben, you are in slot 11. So the back half of the first round, and you're right at the turn. So I love the 11th pick. In my opinion, that's one of my favorite picks to get. But Andrew, you're going to be up here. So we're going to start the draft here. First pick, as you expect, Christian McCaffrey. CD Lamb. And then with your first pick in the draft, you got a couple minutes here. Who are you wanting to pick?
This makes it so easy because I'm in the 2 slot in a draft, and I'm actually going to take Tyreek in the 2. I feel like he's. But it's an easy choice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good choice. That stinks that you're picking Bijan Robinson, though. So we got Jmarsh Chase, Tyreek Hill, Amon-Ra, Justin Jefferson, Garrett Wilson, Saquon Barkley. Ben, you're at the turn here. Who are you picking?
Okay. Not too worried in a real draft in this, a little bit more because I know you've got something up your sleeve here. But here, I could go. I don't have to worry about it too much because I would absolutely get a running back and wide receiver. I think I got to go best available. Probably going to go A.J. Brown here.
A.J. Brown? I'll let you have that. Pick him.
Okay.
All right, turn. We got Jonathan Taylor, Jahmyr Gibbs.
All right, see, now I know this is where you're going to screw me because normally I'd want to take a running back here. I'd either go Kyren or drop down to ETN. I do like him. So let's go and say Kyren for right now.
No, you're not going to pick Kyren. Andrew's picking your player.
I feel like since Ben is in Ohio State, we got to go with Marvin Harrison Jr.
That's who I would have done if I took his pick. So Ben, select Marvin Harrison. That's your pick
All right,
here.
you know what? I like that. I've got my wide receivers locked, so I'm not mad at that.
All right, second round. We got Puka, Devontae Adams, Derrick Henry, Drake London, Josh Allen. Someone picked the quarterback. Idiot. ETN, Chris Olave. So here you already got, my opinion, one of the best running back, probably top 2. I think he can end the season as RB1. So what are your thoughts here? Do you like the RB strategy to just get your, especially because it's scarce, the running back market this year in fantasy?
I love it.
Are you wanting running back here? Or are you wanting receiver?
I love that. I love that strategy because they're so thin this year, and I love Rams running backs. Please actually give me Kyren Williams.
Kyren Williams. Are we going to allow him to pick it?
Please.
No, we're not. Actually, Ben, you're picking someone for him.
All right,
so we got
know what? He needs
Travis
a running
Kelce.
back, but I think this is a situation where people panic. No, and I actually think this is looking at who's up next. It's Kyren Williams, Travis Kelce, Sam Laporta. I think people are going to overdraft, and there's going to be that one idiot in the league who is not paying attention at this point in the league, and he's going to think, oh, it's 5 years ago. So we're going to draft Travis Kelce.
Yep. Exactly. So, turn, we got Sam Laporta. Somebody freaked out because of that.
Williams.
Kyren.
Yes, mm-hmm.
We got Josh Jacobs, Pacheco. So you're back at the turn. You got a running back, you got a tight end, and you need a wide receiver 1. So who are you going to go the running back here though, like you wanted to do, or are you going to get the wide receiver 1?
No, I don't know what I'm going to do because you're going to do it for me. But that being said, I really think A-Chain's overvalued. So I would, if I could actually pick this, I would say A-Chain. I would say stay away from A-Chain at all costs, and I would probably go with either Ayuk or Mahomes. I'd probably Ayuk. I love good players on good teams.
All right, I'm gonna let you have that pick.
Okay.
Mike Evans, Patrick Mahomes, A-Chan, Waddle, Diggs, Hurts, Lamar Jackson. Man, we already have 1, 2, 3, 4 quarterbacks off the board. And this is what happens in drafts, like I was telling you about. Someone picked Josh Allen, then Mahomes. Next thing you know, a few other people had to get him around earlier than they honestly should.
And I agree with you, Jmarsh. I mean, looking at it, you could go – it's wanting me to go wide receiver, but obviously with my team, that would be kind of detrimental if I draft wide receiver.
Yeah, you need a running back here. So what are you wanting?
I really
Who are you looking at?
And I don't – at this point, if I was in this position, I'd be very scared, but I think there is one guy left that I would absolutely want to have at a value standpoint. I think he's underrated a lot, but Rashid White off of Tampa Bay.
That's who you want to pick?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'm not going to let you have that pick. You're going to have to pick a wide receiver here.
All right. Well, from this case, I'm going to probably just go off of value and then maybe try to get a trade later in the draft. I'm not drafting Nico Collins just because I don't like the Texans. I think there's too many. I'm going to go ahead, assuming that Ayuk gets traded. Hopefully he does. I'm going to go Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, that's who I'd pick as well. All right, Nico Collins next. Michael Pittman. Back at the turn here.
Round 2. He's still on the board, so we're going to try a second time to go White from Tampa Bay.
Rashad White. Should we let him pick this or not? I don't
feel
know.
like it's a horrible pick, so you give it to him. Why not?
You know what? Actually, Andrew, did you pick for Ben already?
Yeah, I gave him.
Oh, you did? Okay. Actually, no. I'm going to take this one. Sorry, Ben.
All right.
I already forced you to take a position. Now I'm going to force you to pick a player from a different team.
Okay.
I'm going to force you to take somebody on Baltimore.
You know what? This could screw me, but he could have a breakout year, and I really need – is he gone already? Fuck, Derrick Henry's gone, isn't he? Oh,
you got Mark Andrews there.
Oh,
you can go get some Zay Flowers as well.
Yeah, I mean, you were high on Zay. Might as well take
Zay. He's your everydayer.
Not when I have 3 wide receivers already. You know what? I'm going to do
Mark
it.
Andrews there, though. Get your
I
tight
don't
end
like
one.
it, but I'll get my tight end one.
Yeah, you
There
basically
you
have.
go. That was a
Oh,
good
and there
pick.
goes Rashad White.
Shad White, DJ Moore, James Cook, Cooper Kupp,
Okay,
Trey
wait.
McBride,
Pause for a
Kamara.
second. I just want to talk about what Team 7 is doing because I'm physically forced into drafting wide
They're doing it
receivers.
on purpose.
They've literally drafted Justin Jefferson, Drake London, Jalen Waddle, and Cooper Kupp.
Team 4 did too. What are they
Oh
doing?
my gosh, idiots! See, this is what happens. Because honestly, I've seen people do this. Andrew, we know some guy in our work league that does something like this, and it's like, dude, what are you doing?
That's
Like,
painful.
you need to get RB1, and you're waiting until the 5th round to get one. Crazy. All right, Andrew, you're up though. Who are you thinking right now?
All right, so even though I said my everydayers, one of them was Malik Neighbors. Here's the problem. I really do love the idea of getting pretty stout at running back early this year because there just aren't a lot of good running backs just overall. And I think the Texans are going to be great. Joe Mixon? Yeah?
Nope. I'm gonna force you to pick a player from that or actually force you to pick a position. You're gonna get a QB here. You know who I'm looking at.
I mean,
Are you gonna pick him?
Yeah, it's Stroud. It's got to be Stroud.
All right, there you go.
I
That's
don't
where he's
hate
going.
That is an early QB for me. That hurts. I don't do that.
All right, so we got Malik Neighbors, Devonta Smith, Amari Cooper. I'm letting you have this. Pick who you want.
Well, I'm sticking with my original philosophy. I'm going Kenneth Walker.
Yep, I think it's a great pick. I think, his rookie season was really good. Last year was a little bit down. But I'm confident in him this year, so I think that's a great pick. Richardson, Kincaid, George Pickens, Tank Dell, Kittle, Higgins, Zay Flowers. Oh, that stinks, man.
Oh, that's okay. With my 3 wide receivers, I don't know how I'll
You
survive.
have a tight end, so you need a running back, man.
I do, and I see one on the board. I like his upside, especially with in this position, there's only one way I can go, and it's Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones. I'm sorry, bud. I'm picking for you this time. I'm taking my one pick that I'm picking for you. I'm going to give you a running back, though. I'm going to give you good old DeAndre Swift.
I actually like him better.
Yeah.
So pick Swift.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. I'll take Swift.
But Bears are going to be better than the Vikings this year.
Keenan
Anyway.
Allen, Joe Burrow. You got free range on this.
Okay, I'm going Aaron Jones. I just needed to get my.
And by the way, Ben, I've already used all of mine on you, so you are free to draft. Andrew, you still have 2 left.
Ooh, there goes Evan Ingram.
Evan Ingram, man. All right, so right now, Andrew, you got an RB1 and another RB that could be RB1. You got a QB1. You have a wide receiver 1.
Yeah, I need a wide receiver 2. I have to get a wide receiver 2.
I have one guy I'm looking at right now. I'm wondering if you're thinking the same thing. What receiver are you looking at?
Rome Odunze.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like Keenan Allen is old and he's going to get hurt, and I think he is the easy number 2 in Chicago behind DJ Moore, and I really do believe Caleb Williams is going to have a great year. So yeah, I'm going Rome Odunze. Interesting.
Okay. Well, actually, I'm going to force you to pick a player from a specific team, and that's going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Ugh. So you really just wanted me to pick Christian Kirk?
Yeah.
That's why. Okay.
Yeah, I was hoping you'd say that, then I wouldn't have used it.
Just take.
But
take
reason being is we talked about this earlier. He's the wide receiver 1 there, and there's Evan Ingram and Etienne, and he has a good quarterback. He's not Danny Dimes.
It's actually a better pick. I just like the gamble of Odunze because I feel.
Yeah, no, I get that, but yeah, the reason I want you to draft Christian Kirk is Odunze is third man, maybe second man up. Then Jaden Reed, second or third man up. Chris Godwin, second man up. Xavier Worthy, second man up. Like, he's the last wide receiver 1 on a team that I see on the board. And you need another wide receiver because your wide receiver 1's Ayuk, who is the 1A, 1B.
But you see what I did just there? I made you use your pick.
Oh, you little shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
hey.
see, smart man. All right, see, you're playing the game. That's what I like. All right. So where are you at right now? You got your 2 receivers, you got 2 running backs, you got your tight end, got your quarterback. So right now you're getting their flex piece or some depth piece. So what are you looking at?
This is actually kind of hard because I like a lot of these guys. I really don't like Xavier Worthy's ADP here, though. That's kind of high for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm thinking I'm going to go with some depth at running back and take Mostert a little early as my flex.
I'll let you have it. Pollard, Ridley next, Godwin, Kyler, Xavier Worthy, Nick Chubb, Addison.
Oh man.
All right,
okay.
Ben, you got free range, whatever you want.
I gotta go. I mean, looking at ADP, I think this is a good time to pick up. You look at all the QBs; they're off the board. We talked about him being somebody who Jmarsh. I think in their first episode, you actually said this. He fell. He did fall in this round. I'm gonna go ahead and pick Jordan Love.
Love that pick. He is some guy if I don't get a quarterback, if I don't get a CJ Stroud, he's the guy I'm looking for in almost every draft, then I'm going for Jordan Love.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Mahomes if he can fall to the back half of the 3rd round. But he's not really. So
and then again, going just based off of value and team need right now. I don't love him. I hate the team, but we're gonna go Zamir White on Las Vegas.
That was one of your sleepers. So yeah,
That
there in the 8th
was
round.
my sleeper.
Your sleeper. Yeah. Got Njoku, Javante, Brock Purdy, Ferguson, Zach Moss, McConkey, Eckler. Man, real quick, Eckler, I think his stock boosts a little bit after Dotson leaving, and Eckler had a really bad year. But look what he did previously. I don't like talking about previous years, but he has the talent there. Dude's still a freaking beast. I think he's kind of that Raheem Mostert type sleeper. He's going in late in drafts. People are just forgetting about him. So that's just one guy I wanted to bring up. All right, right here, kind of same place. Really for both your teams now, honestly, between the 8th and 13th rounds, it's kind of all depth pieces. Really, depth or flex that you just kind of plug and plays. So, who you looking at right now, Andrew?
Well, when I look at depth guys, I try to find guys who can have big breakout games when I'm pulling them off the bench, and I feel like D-Hop is an easy choice here because of that.
Really? Okay. Ben, who would you pick at this position based off who's on the board?
Let's see. Do I want to be mean?
Well, no, I'm not. You're not picking. I just want your opinion. Who you pick?
Let's look at his team. Bijan. I would go wide receiver. I mean, I don't think running back. There's no more running backs on here that I love. I know Keon Coleman's getting a lot of love out of Buffalo right now, but I just don't really know until I see it. So I would probably go D-Hop too. I mean, he's gonna, assuming he stays healthy, he's gonna be a big option in Tennessee. So I'd probably go D-Hop.
D-Hop, that's who you want, Andrew?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. You're picking a running back though.
There's nobody. All right, well, no, okay, Jalen Warren. I mean, I don't feel terrible about that because I don't trust Najee, and the Steelers do run the ball, and he is a great passing down running back. So Jalen Warren,
perfect.
Not perfect, but whatever.
Caleb Williams, Coleman, Brooks. All right, free range. You guys can pick whoever you want. Let's try to make it a little bit quicker over here.
Okay.
Well,
so we got some rounds to go.
Yeah, this is easy. D-Hop.
D-Hop, there you go.
Yeah.
Hey,
see,
who you want?
I helped you. You got Jalen Warren and him. You're welcome.
You know what? I'm gonna do it. I know this is not what I would do in a normal round, but I feel like in purposes just to see what the computer does, and I feel like every year at this point in the draft, correct me if I'm wrong, there's always that one idiot that picks a defense. So
this early?
I'm going to go 49ers defense.
Oh, man. Like 12th is usually when I look. But
just to see if the computer followed it, they didn't. So
they didn't because they're smarter than you. So.
But no, I mean, like I've been in a draft where that happens, and the next 5 picks are defenses, and I'm like, okay, people are just wanting.
We had a guy pick a kicker in round 2, and I about kicked him out of the league mid-draft.
You did kick him out of the league.
No, I did after the season. I let him play the season, but I kicked him out.
He deserved it. That was
At this point, I'm gonna go
kicker.
Probably, no, Jameson Williams.
Yeah, good pick. Benson, Corum, Hawkinson, which is actually a good pick because he's injured right now, and when he comes back in October, that's a great tight end. Gus Edwards, Ezekiel Elliott, which is way too soon in my opinion. Jared Goff, Jaden Daniels. All right, who you picking?
I basically either need QB or tight end depth here, so I feel like the easiest choice is Cole Kmet.
All right, pick him for you. All right, back around to you. We got Sutton, Lockett, Brown, Curtis Samuel off the board. So who are you thinking? You got your tight end depth piece. Are you getting the quarterback depth piece? Or are you getting some more wide receivers?
Yeah, give me Trevor.
Trevor Lawrence. Wow, he's still on board. Yeah, I mean that's smart, honestly. Just you never know. C.J. Stroud, he got hurt last year for a few games, so
great backup too.
And Trevor Lawrence has a great start of the season. That's a good place to use that as trade bait to get you a different wide receiver. You know, trade him with somebody, get a wide receiver 1 or running back, something like that. So yeah, I think that's a great pick. Doubs, Palmer, Jerome Ford, which is crazy because he went after Chubb, and Chubb's out to start the season.
Oh, look at that. 2 kickers off the board. Well, I guess they are starting to...
Are you doing... Yeah, kicker? I still think it's early. Are you going to get a kicker,
You know what?
Ben?
I am, just because looking at I know the computer's going off at ADP. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up Harrison Butker.
There you go.
See? And then from here, actually, I love this pick. Because I did watch their preseason game the other day. Dude looks like a stud, and we have not talked about him, but I'm going Adonai Mitchell from Texas on Indianapolis.
I like that pick a lot. I've got him in a lot of mock drafts as well in the late rounds because he's a rookie. You're not giving up draft capital for him, and he could be really good. He's coming from Texas. He was him and Xavier Worthy were like really close. From a performance standpoint. So, Andy's going to a really good quarterback in Anthony Richardson. So we'll see how that plays out. And you can use him if you're in a keeper league, that's kind of good because you get him this late. He ends up being a stud and you want to keep him next year. That's awesome because you get him in the freaking 12th round. All right. What are you thinking, Andrew?
I'm thinking Jake Elliott. I think I need to grab a kicker before they're all gone, honestly.
Yep. There you go. Coming back around, you got your kicker. You're going to go with defense here. You got the Jets and the Cowboys and the Ravens and the Browns. Those are kind of the last big name ones from a points perspective left.
And I love the Browns defense. I love the Browns defense. I love the Browns defense. Give me the Browns defense.
Let's do it. All right, Jake Moody. So Jets, Gabe Davis, Wright, Williams, Stafford, Shaheed. Where are you going here? You got your kicker. You got your defense way too early, so you just didn't depth.
100. I've got to go running back for depth because I just looked at it. I only have 3 running backs, so I kind of screwed the pooch there. You know what? We talked about it before. I don't hate this just because of him. Handcuff Chandler on Minnesota. That's the only reason there. And then... You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to go ahead and use my sleeper that I said week 1. Give me Kirk Cousins.
There you go. Man, 14th round, you're getting quarterback on a supposedly high-powered offense. So, hey, more power to you. That's a good backup, especially if Jordan Love just completely shits the bed, which honestly might happen. He had one good season and got the biggest contract in QB history.
Mm-hmm.
But so we'll see. No, I think that's a good on you for that. All right, Andrew, second to last pick. You got your whole squad. So realistically, right now, you're just are you wanting some more running backs, or do you want to go take a gamble on some rookies and hope that they're maybe a good keeper if you're in a keeper league? What are you thinking here?
So, I think my gamble is next round because this I've never been so excited about an 11th round pick. I really wanted Adam Thielen. I'm so glad nobody else picked him. Like because he is like he's gonna get a lot of targets there. Like and he's a good like soft zone kind of guy. I don't know. I like Thielen.
Yeah, I mean he's the wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. Like we'll see. Like he started the season last year just killing it, and then just Panthers just kind of dropped off, and Bryce Young just sucked. But
well, hold on. I feel like people are a little hard on that dude. Like
his line sucks. Yeah, I mean it's not all his fault.
Like
he was.
Let's see him get protected, and then we'll talk about how bad he is.
I don't think we're gonna see that this year. Maybe I don't think 2 years. All right. Got another kicker, likely. That's a good backup tight end. Cowboys, Ravens. Man, those were defenses won last round. That's pretty good. The rest, a lot of these other teams don't have defenses yet, so you're going to see a lot of that. So, are you going to take the gamble here? You're going to try to find a high flying rookie. Are you going to try to, which there really isn't too many left. We have Estime on there, which we talked about earlier. Frank Gore Jr.
No. Actually, now that I think about it, I love this play in late rounds. Elijah Mitchell, because CMC, you never know.
Am I spelling his name wrong? Is he
Elijah?
I think they already took him.
No, he's on here. Elijah.
Nope.
If you just go down, like just scroll the overall ADP, he's not far down. You'll see him. He's below.
Pretty sure he's already been taken.
He's below Quentin Johnson. He's below.
No, I know. I'm saying I think somebody already took him. He's not coming up.
Okay. I don't think so, man. But all right. So if I can't have him, since apparently I'm getting locked out.
I can't find him.
Dude, I can't find him, man.
All right, give me Antonio Gibson. I've always been a fan.
Oh, that's why it's only showing rookies only. You're good. I'll give you Elijah.
Dude. Oh my.
I was about to say, where the heck is this guy? All right. You're seeing the defenses and the kickers. Another defense. Man, Chiefs going that late. That's good.
You know what? I'm going to do it. You guys are going to laugh me out of the room. I'm going to go with the highest flying rookie of the draft class.
It's Bo Nix.
Give me Bo Nix.
Oh, my God. Good Lord. All right.
On that note,
we're going to end the podcast for today. Next week, we're going to really still kind of get into draft season, talks about some other high flyers, some other, maybe go through some divisions that we're really excited for. Follow us again on social media on X, YouTube, Spotify, every single social media you could possibly think of. We're there. TikTok, we TikToking up in here. But yeah, really pumped this for the season to start. We got less than 2 weeks, boys, so it's draft season. We all got drafts this next week, so that will be it for today.